Today's message is encouraging you to enroll in you. Enroll in university.
I will be all that He's designed for me to be. I will be all that He has called me to be. I'm uniquely made. I'm uniquely made.
Hey sis, welcome back to I'm Uniquely Made, and I'm your host Monique, and welcome back to another episode of Sisterhood of the Traveling Word. So sis, it's been a while, I do admit. It's been a while since I delivered like a message in this way, like one of my sisterhood segments. But you know, your girl been like unmotivated, but I have been like putting down ideas and kind of drawing up a storyline, what have you, so that way I can deliver this message. But also, it's been like things going on like next to me, like the loud noises from the houses next door because they're renovating, and from this side because they're renovating. But that's no excuse. But at the end of the day, here we are, and here I am. So thank you so much for tuning into today's message. And today's message, ladies, is encouraging you to enroll in you. Enroll in university. So in light of the new school year, everyone is getting back to in-person learning. People are starting, young adults are starting to enroll in colleges and universities, going to grad school, getting their masters, and everything's just like going back to normal. And of course, myself, I have a 17-year-old who is in her last year of high school and is slowly approaching, graduation. So this too is kind of like, it's hitting me because she is about to embark on that like independent womanhood and really get to be able to do what she wants to do. So this message kind of resonates with me as well. And so it begins to make me think, why do we enroll in universities, colleges? Well, we enroll to further our education, right? We enroll to learn about a certain specialty, to learn how to be a doctor, to learn how to be a lawyer, or even a tech expert. We enroll in these colleges and universities to further our education. That's the whole purpose of it. But sometimes we forget that we have to learn ourselves, sis. Like, we have to remember to always study ourselves and our behaviors. So this is where the concept of enrolling in university comes into play, so that you can specialize in you. Sis, I don't know about you, but I did a lot of dumb things. I didn't know what I liked, so I settled for certain things. I didn't know who I was, so I allowed people to influence me and encourage me to do the wrong thing. I settled for things. I allowed people to choose things for me because I simply didn't know me. I didn't know what I liked in order to say, no, I'm not going to do that because I don't like that. I didn't know who I was to say, no, I don't want to do that because that goes against my morals. I just simply didn't know. So the goal for me is to constantly be enrolled so that I know what I'm going to stand for and what I'm not going to stand for. See, the goal is for you to look deep down inside to understand why it's so hard for you to say no, but on the contrary, why is it so hard for you to say yes? To understand why when someone rejects your opinion, you get very offensive. To understand why when you're bored, you turn to destructive behaviors. To understand why when people don't invite you out, you overthink it and think that it's because they don't like you, when simply it's because they probably thought it probably wouldn't suit you. To understand why when you're overwhelmed, you shut down and isolate yourself. To understand why behind closed doors, you cry yourself to sleep. There is a reason why we respond the way we do, or don't respond the way that we should. Somewhere down the line, these behaviors became a habit, and we formed these behaviors of a way to self-comfort ourselves. Like, we built up these walls as a way to, protect ourselves and make sure that when we feel this way, we have a way to attack that feeling, because, rejection is a horrible feeling, and I feel like when you don't know yourself, you don't know how to accept that rejection. So what you do with it is when someone rejects you, you say, you know what? I'm gonna get her back, or I'm never gonna do this again. When someone rejects you, you don't know what to do with that uncomfortable feeling. And so instead of really feeling that feeling, you want to get rid of that feeling, so you do something else to help cancel out that feeling. And since I'm speaking to myself, because I'm not perfect, and I have done some things to help cancel out a negative feeling, things that were making the feeling even worse. You know, the things that I were doing wasn't really dealing with the feeling. It was just trying to escape it, but I really wasn't escaping it. But in order to begin healing, you have to learn you so that you can break the cycle. You need some study time on you, girl, and so do I. I still need study time on me. So it's like the same way we study for a test, the same way we spend time in these relationships so that we can get to know that person better. So we study for a test so we can get to know the material better and see what we know. It's the same way we need to study ourselves to get to know ourselves better. When you study, you increase your confidence, competence, and self-esteem. So when someone approaches you and says, well, I'm sorry I didn't invite you, or you overhear that you weren't invited, you won't automatically go to the fact that someone doesn't like you. Maybe you'll say, well, it's God willing, that's not for me. But in order to begin to understand yourself, you have to first know that you have a creator. So sometimes we look to other people to define us and give us a definition when they aren't the ones who created us. Whirlpool can't go to Nike and ask, well, what am I made? I'm a Whirlpool washing machine. Okay, Nike, what am I made for? What did you make me for? Nike is gonna be like, I didn't make you. Like, you have to go to the person who created you. So the person who created me is God, and the only person that can tell me, the only person who knows me is the one who created me, and that's God. God had to break me down till I was so done with taking on the characteristics of other people. Like I was just done. I had to really say, you know what, Lord, I give me to you, because I'm done being fake. I'm done settling for less. I am done trying to fill this void that I can't fill. It's like pouring into a cup where the bottom is missing. Like, I keep using things to fill my cup, but nothing was filling my cup. Everything was just pouring out, and I'm just like, Lord, why am I not getting full? I just feel like I'm just constantly being drained of my energy, being drained of everything that everything that I'm putting in me that I thought was filling me up was actually draining me. We have to start breaking these generational cycles, just a cycle, period. Generational or not, we need to start breaking these cycles and these change, so that way we can begin to respond in a way that's loving, not only towards others but to ourselves as well. We respond so unlovingly to ourselves because we believe there's no other alternative. We haven't figured out what works for us. So when we're faced with overwhelm and anxiousness and feelings of lack of self-confidence and lack of self-worth, we turn to things that we think are filling us up, but it's really draining us even more. In that moment, it might feel like it's filling you up, but you're leaving more empty than what you came. I know for me, I used to run to the arms of men to make me feel validated, to make me feel like I have worth, because I wanted to escape a feeling. No one even made me feel this way. It's how I felt about myself. See, I already knew how I felt about myself, so anything that someone said, it just confirmed it. So no one could really bring me down because I was already down. So I constantly stayed in a state of needing to feel validated or needed to feel like someone can give me some worth because I stayed in a state of like depletion. Can you imagine how that must feel? Like, it's one thing if someone just comes out of nowhere and says, you ain't crap, you know? It's one thing if someone comes out of nowhere and says, I'm better than you. But I felt like that 100% of the time. I always felt like that. And because I always felt like that, I was always trying to escape that feeling. And the things I chose to try to escape that feeling only hurt me more. But I didn't know at that moment that it was hurting me more. But in that temporary sense, I thought that it was making me whole. And really, I was just breaking off pieces of myself. But now, whenever I feel those emotions come up, I don't live in a state of like hopelessness or, you know, depletion or lack of self-worth. No, honey. Monique ain't living there no more, okay? So now when I feel those feelings, I redirect them and turn them into something positive. Because I still feel those feelings. I still feel moments of rejection, neglection. I'm still triggered. I still have those feelings. Just because I'm in Christ doesn't mean that those feelings just automatically go away. And that's the thing I think we forget sometimes when we're in Christ, that everything is just going to be like perfect or we ain't going to feel these things no more. But honey, we feel them. And what the thing is with Christ is that we feel them. And because when conviction kicks in, like the guilt of even thinking about that thing or wanting to execute something, we stop ourselves and we try to redirect that feeling. So when I'm feeling rejection, I may go in my little area down here and I might go start doing my makeup. I remember like, you a boss. You feel me what I'm saying? Or I may create something and I'll be like, you creative girl, like you creative, like nobody gonna steal your shine, okay? Or when I'm feeling like just down in the dumps, like I feel self-conscious, I might go do my nails. It's like little things like that that kind of helps me to change my attitude. It makes me feel better. I'm so thankful that when I finally decided to enroll in university, that I started to begin to gain clarity of who God says I am. Because I turned to Him and said, God, what did you make me for? I know you ain't make me for this, like for the things that I was doing. I know I wasn't meant for this. But God, what did you make me for? What do I need to learn about myself? Because we need to learn our triggers. We need to learn what triggers certain behavior. Romans 7:15 says, I don't really understand myself, for I want to do what is right, but I don't do it. Instead, I do what I hate. And we have to look in ourselves and see why we do the things that we hate. Because see, I don't believe that we want to respond like I don't believe that we want to respond in an unloving and disrespectful way, not only to others but also to ourselves. I feel like when something happens to us that's kind of like hurtful, you know, regardless, the smallest thing can be hurtful. Someone, you drawing a picture and someone saying, I would have chose red, hurts, you know, like it hurts in some way, shape, or form, because like it feels like you're not included in some way. Like, I don't know why it hurts, but it can hurt. And then we take that feeling of like rejection, okay, and we want to go to somebody else and make them feel another way. And I don't believe that we truly want to do that. Like, I don't believe we truly want to hurt someone. I just think that we have no other way of coping with that feeling, that unhealthy feeling. We have no healthy way of coping with that feeling. Or when you're feeling lonely and your only alternative is to go have sex or go back into that toxic relationship because you're feeling lonely, instead of simply basking in that loneliness, trying to figure out why you're even feeling lonely. What feeling are you trying to escape from? Is it really loneliness? Do you really want to have sex? I don't even think sex, it don't even be the sex you want. It's the intimacy you crave. But why do you crave that intimacy? Is it because you never felt close to someone who loves you, or no one told you they loved you, no one hugged you? I feel like there is a deeper root to why we do the things we do. And I know for me, there was a much deeper root to why I chose the routes that I took. Because my mom, was not around, because I was scared of my dad, I had put up this wall of just trying to escape the feeling of being neglected, the feeling of not being safe. And I tried to escape that feeling by falling into the arms of someone else that can help me feel accepted and help me feel safe. But in all, when I look back, I was just trying to cover up for this feeling. Now, because of how far I've healed and how far I've came and how far I've learned myself, how I'm coping with those feelings of, I still have those feelings. I still have those feelings of like neglect and fear sometimes. They're not as strong, but every now and then I am triggered by that. And so when I start to feel that way, I know that it's a trick of the enemy. I know that the devil is trying to like discourage me or distract me for some reason. But I take that feeling and I try to do something like this. I try to encourage someone else. I try to create something beautiful. I try to spend more time with my kids, because even in the midst of me spending time with my kids, a memory will come up where it's just like, Dad, I never had this with my mom. My kids are so blessed to have me, and I never had this with my mom. Then I'm starting to get like sad, or I started to kind of retract from my kids a little bit, and I gotta be like, wait, like I didn't have this, and maybe it's a blessing that I didn't have that, because now I'm more so don't want to be that way. So now I'm going to be more here, more available for my kids, more emotionally available, physically available, mentally available. So it's just like, yeah, I didn't get that, but how can I change it? How can I change the narrative? So when you decide to enroll in university, please know that no one can force you to enroll in you. No one's going to say, hey, you need to get to know yourself, like for real. No one's going to say that, because the world is going to accept the way that you operate. The world is going to accept the way that you hurt people. The world is going to accept the way that you use your body. The world is going to accept the way that you curse people. The world is going to accept the way that you smoke weed or drink to cover up your feelings. The world is going to accept that. But you have to realize that that is toxic behavior. So this is something that you're going to have to do on your own. No one is going to, it's not like a real college when someone's bringing you to sign up, to fill out the financial aid, to fill out the information where you need your parents' information. No one is going to sign you up. The only person that can sign you up is you, sis. And also, please note, you know how in college or university, you're aiming for like the goal of graduating. You're aiming for that degree, okay? But in university, honey, sis, you will never, okay, receive your master's, or you will never get to a graduation, okay, in university, because there's always going to be something, honey, something, sis, that keeps you enrolled, okay? There's always going to be something, because you know what? That something has to keep you humble, because if you feel like you're perfect, God can't use that. you need to remain humble. So it's always going to be one area. Even if you think you perfected all the areas, there's always going to be an area where you can do better, where you can extend more grace, where you can extend more mercy. There's always going to be an area where you can do better. Something is going to trigger you, and it's going to be like, I didn't even know that bothered me. You know, every day I'm constantly being triggered, and it's just something that was like a new door was open. It's like doors are always going to be open, and where it's like, this is something else I gotta learn about myself. Okay, it's always going to be something. But please note that is what is going to keep you humble, because when you feel like you're too perfect, God cannot use that. Okay, God can use someone who is humble and who understands that they're not perfect, because too much pride, God can't work with that. So I pray this semester, this year, that you enroll in you, sis. You enroll in you, and let God be your teacher. Get to know Him while you're getting to know you, because He will tell you who you are. He will show you who you are. Not you of this world, okay? He will show you who you are, who He created you to be. I pray you found this message encouraging and inspirational. I pray you take this message and share it with another sister, because I want this word to travel. And it doesn't have to travel in this concept and enrolling in university, but you may share this with someone in a different way that maybe correlates with them. Like, if another sis is, into music, you may say, sis, I need you to get the record straight, okay? I need you to fine-tune some things. You get what I'm saying? Because everyone's not going to take it the same way I'm giving it to you. So when you're ministering to people, you have to come down to how they see things, and maybe you can put it into a perspective that works for them. If you know someone likes cars, you may say, sis, I need you to get a tune-up or something. You get what I'm saying? So then they may be like, oh, well, in a tune-up, what happens in a tune-up? Well, you get your engine checked, whatever, and it's like, I got to check my heart. You get what I'm saying? So I pray this message encourages you, and I pray that you begin healing, and I pray that you begin to understand you and who God created you to be. And I thank you so much for tuning in. So I will catch you in the next episode of Sisterhood of the Traveling Word. Bye, sis.
I'm uniquely